Hello and welcome, everyone. Very excited for day 2 of virtual USAC week. Today, we're going to highlight our amazing program in Santiago in Chile. And I have two amazing presenters that will be leading you through this today. And I will hand it over to them with their amazing knowledge. Jorge and Thomas, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you virtually. Nice to have you here. My name is Jorge Molina. I'm the resident director for the Santiago, Chile program.
Hi, everyone. My name is Thomas Phillips, he, him, his. I'm an institutional relations officer at USAC, but I am also an alum of the Santiago, Chile program. So I'm going to speak today, not too much, but mostly from my experience when I was a student there only a few years ago.
Are we good?
Yeah, take it away, Jorge.
Perfect. So let's start off with the presentation. I don't see the slides yet.
I can find it in just 1 second.
Okay, great. So again, welcome everyone. I'm happy to have you here and to talk and present about the program in Santiago. So one of the first things I can mention is that Chile is in the south of Chile. The south of South America at the very end. But we as a country like to say, here's where the north and where the world begins. That's kind of like the perspective we like to have on how we appreciate the world. And something important also is to mention that our program is in the capital city, which is Santiago, and it's right in the center of the country. Chile is a very, very long and narrow country. So we usually go for north and south. We don't use the concepts of west or east. That makes it easier for students to navigate the country. It makes it easier for us to show the country. The picture you see here on the slide is actually what the city looks like. So it's very modern, it's easy to navigate. You have the mountains on the west, and then, the east, and the west you have the ocean. And they're both only 60 to 90 minutes away. So you have city, you have nature, you have the ocean, and you have the country all around and easy to get to. All right. So on the next slide, I want to show you and share a little bit about the city itself. Santiago is, as I said before, the capital city. We have about 6 million people, and I lost the slides for some reason. There we go. Thank you. We have about 6 million people in the city. This probably is a big contrast when it comes to some other towns or cities where our students are from. But I'm happy to say, and I give them more confidence when they get here that they won't have to deal with this number of people while they're in the country. In fact, they will live in a neighborhood, they will commute to campus in a different neighborhood, on the subway. We will talk about this in a few minutes. So their commute is easy. Navigating each area or each district is actually also very easy. They definitely won't get lost, and it will be a great experience to be in a big capital city. Something interesting, or interesting data about Santiago, is that the first one is a big business or financial hub in the region. In South America, you've probably heard or read that Santiago or Chile as a country was probably the first economy in South America. With the pandemic, we stumbled a little bit, but we're getting back there and increasing again the financial growth of our country, and we're reaching again the same numbers that we had before the pandemic. So we're excited as a country about that. We are a strong democracy, along with Uruguay and Costa Rica and all of South America. So that's also a very interesting point to highlight. And some of the things that can prove that we are a growing and stable economy is actually some of the important landmarks in the city. We have the largest skyscraper in South America. That is also the largest mall probably in the country. I'm not a mall person. I just like name it here because when you Google Santiago, that's probably the first picture you're gonna get. This also, I'm sharing it because some students mentioned right away during their first week, it's like, I'm not feeling the big culture shock or the impact I was expecting to have. And it's at a certain point good because they won't really miss their home as much as they thought they would, which makes it easier for them and for us as well. In addition to all this information, we also have a very modern airport. It's, again, the largest airport in the district, the area, and this makes it easy for students to first find flights and get here to the program, and maybe travel to other places in the country as well. It's a great opportunity for them if they are into traveling in the country and getting to know other places apart from the big city. And the city itself, the pictures you have here were taken in the city. The first one is right in front of the city hall, which is probably one of the busiest squares, yet it's super safe and it's very comfortable and you get to see important landmarks. So this, along with the smaller communities that we have around the city, makes it a very interesting place to visit and to get to know. All right. So in addition to this, please, let's advance the slide. We also offer in the city different opportunities for students to live while they're here. So we have, the first option is the apartments that we offer through Live-in X, which is actually run by an American holding. It's, I guess, if I remember correctly, it's the same holding that runs the dorms, some of the dorms at UNR. So that says about the quality of the service they offer and the different quality of the room students can go to if they go for that option. They have a laundry that they can use. They have a gym. There's a swimming pool, and they're pretty comfortable, and they're available 24/7. These study rooms, so they can maybe like leave their room and go to a place that feels like a working space. Everything, all this is only 15 minutes away from campus by walking distance. So it's really easy to get to. You take the same street where these apartments are, you walk downtown on the same street, and you get to our campus and our offices right away. So it's impossible to get lost. The walk is actually really, really easy. You can get the fresh air in the morning and avoid the busy avenues or streets in the city. For the apartments, as I said, we have single and shared options. The shared options are actually single rooms and shared apartment with up to 2 people, all right? And the single are actually studio apartments. So depending on the personality of the student, if they are probably like shy or they don't feel like they want to push themselves and interact too much with locals, this is a good opportunity they have. But the other option that we offer through the program is the homestays, which is actually my favorite. And I actually encourage students to go for this one and maybe get out of the bubble and like try a little bit extra to interact with locals. So it's local families. They will speak Spanish. Some of them speak a little English. So if your student doesn't know a single word in Spanish, they don't have to really go through the stress of how do I communicate with my family. We try to place them with the families that will be able to communicate with the students for some time, and then we encourage everyone to transition to Spanish so they all practice a little bit more. They have, with a homestay, one single room. That's a 100% for sure. It's only one student in the room. They have one bathroom that can be single or shared. And when we say shared, it means if out of the student's room, but it's only for them. Other people in the family can use the bathroom, yes, of course, but they usually keep that bathroom only for the student. During the week, they have 2 meals included. We encourage also our families to have breakfast with the students, and then they can decide if it's lunch or dinner, depending on our students' schedule or activities for the day. And over the weekends, they have access to 3 meals. And most of the times, these are actually shared with the family. So they get to spend more time with them and practice more and get used to the culture and the traditions that we have. Latino families, we get together every weekend. So it can be a very fun experience. That's why I say sometimes it requires a little bit more energy so you can get to interact and socialize a little bit more. But as I said, the cultural immersion is great here, and the families, the host families, become an extension of the USAC assistance we can provide to our students. Sometimes they get sick, they don't tell us, but the families will call us and they will say, hey, they're not eating or they're having this problem. And it's easier for us to make an appointment and take them to the doctor and make sure they get over whatever they're going through as fast as we can do that. So Thomas, please, I would like to have you here share your experience. You lived with a host family. How was that?
It was the best part of the whole experience. I loved my host mother. She actually made me call her mama because she was my Chilean mother. The first day I got home from class, I opened the door and I bumped into the coffee table and I thought, what on earth? And all the furniture was moved out of the living room because she was having afternoon tea with her best friends who happened to be tango instructors. And they were dancing and they taught me some of the basics. And fast forward 20 years, I ended up dancing that at my reception with my husband. And we'll celebrate technically our first anniversary this Thursday because it's the 29th of February. So but so from the first day with my homestay family, it was just like another part of the family for me. And I noticed she had so much more patience for me linguistically that it was almost like having an in-house tutor when I would use conversations and maybe I didn't get it and she would rephrase something, whereas she would have a friend come over who really wouldn't work with me as much. So it was almost having an extra language teacher there in the house who was very loving and a wonderful, wonderful person. I
Nice to hear
recommend it for
that. Thank
anybody.
you.
That the homestay is where it's at. That's the best thing.
I do that too. Thank you. Someone dropped a question asking about Chilean Spanish, how different it is, because yes, there is a big difference. We prepare students during orientation. We tell them right away, it's going to be faster than you think it is. We sometimes drop certain sounds, like the sound at the end of some words, we just fully drop it. That's how we just do it. That's how we communicate. We have our own slang within the region. So professors, of course, they will teach academic, formal Spanish. Some professors will give students a few minutes to ask questions about how to like make it informal or social. During the first 2 weeks, we only speak English to our students, and we give them those 2 weeks to prepare and adjust their ears and whatever they know about Spanish, so they can be ready in 2 weeks to start practicing more and more Spanish. During the second week, we transition to Spanish. I ask them to come to my office whenever they come here and try at least. The first try has to be in Spanish, so they get used to it. We help them through the process so it's easier for them to understand and learn the Chilean Spanish. So yeah, I hope I answered your question. On the next slide, I want to address the host university, which is actually our institution. UNAV is the name, short name. It's Universidad Nacional Andrés Bello, actually. But such a long name is just like, no, it's way too hard. So we just call it UNAV. It's about 30,000 people total on campus. We have 3 campuses in the city, and we have 2 out of the city, one by the coast and one is 4 hours south. We don't go to those ones, luckily. And yet again, this is a big number for us. I'm not sure how big of a number it is for your schools back in the States. But again, we don't have to deal with this big number. Students come to one office in particular. They visit a few of the different facilities we have around, and they get to interact with locals in smaller deals. It's not really like, boom, you have 30,000 students here to interact with. We also are only 2 blocks away from the metro stop on the main line. So it's really easy to access. It's really easy to get to. From their house, they take that very same line, they get off here, walk 2 blocks, and they get to our campus very, very easily. The opportunities on campus to interact with locals, it's actually, we have great opportunities for students to meet other people and to get to interact with them. We have the Student Association. They are actually students who are willing to spend time and navigate the city and take them to different cultural activities, take our students to these places themselves. And they are actually really happy every time we get in a group, very excited to have host different activities, along with the many other opportunities they have on campus. We work also with international office, so they get more interaction with local students and other activities that we don't plan directly, but we get to participate in. There are cafes, the Wi-Fi is all over campus. The lunch they can access to here, it's pretty big. It's actually a lot of food. Lunch is our most important meal of the day. And that can go from $3 to $4 up to maybe $6 or $7. So depending on how students budget, they can have a lunch all the time here on campus, or they can bring something from home and have a sandwich. That depends a lot on how students want to manage their own budget. There are like different markets and stores. There are 2 supermarkets, parks around campus. So it's actually very fun to be around this area. And the neighborhood itself is actually very traditional for Santiago and for South America. You see the picture of the office here, the building outside is beautiful architecture. The buildings here used to be houses of wealthy families 2 centuries ago. Now they turned them into universities, classrooms, and offices. So beautiful buildings, well preserved, very safe. You have security 24/7 around campus also. And some of the things that we try to do is to have the staff like all the time available while students are on campus. My office is right next to the classrooms. So I'm always here, always on site to help students whenever they need it. There was a question, I don't want to miss that one, I'm sorry. Okay, the commutes from host families to school, they can vary depending on the neighborhood students get they get placed at, but they can go from 20-25 minutes to 35-40 minutes. So that is something they should probably keep in mind if they want to live with a family and be willing to commute, or if they want to be in an apartment and just walk to school in a 15-minute walk. Why is this? Is because the houses that can like host students are not in downtown. They're a little bit far away from downtown. They're bigger, they have more space, they have more parks. It's not as busy as downtown. So it's comfortable, it's safe, and the commute actually is not really a big problem, because the metro actually during rush hour, we get a train into the station every 1 minute. So if they miss a train, they will have another one for sure in the next minute, literally. In addition to this, let's advance the slide, please. We offer different, in terms of the academics, we offer different opportunities for students to make the most of their time while in Chile. So the first thing I have to mention is that we're like now offering 2 summer sessions, each one 5 weeks. So that makes it even better for students to go from 3 to 7 credits in the summer. And we also go for fall and spring programs as well. And year-long programs also. The great opportunity of this is that students don't need a visa. They can come to Chile on a tourist visa, and that will give them 90 days to be in the country, and then they can renew their visa while on site for $100 and stay for the rest of the semester. So summer sessions, no problem at all. They can be here for the whole session or both sessions even. And for fall and spring, they can renew their tourist visa while they're here on site. We assist them throughout the whole process to make sure they're all fine, they're all safe, and they're all legal in the country, and they don't make any mistakes. So you can trust us that we will take care of them in that matter. The courses are focused on Spanish, of course. We do teach Spanish, but we also focus on literature. We go for Latin American studies and cultures, and also communication and journalism. These are like really important areas that we focus on, and we've been very successful at. So I'm happy to say that we get to offer these courses pretty much every semester, and students are really thankful for the opportunity they get and all the learning they also achieve. The courses are taught in both, and depending on the courses, of course, we have options in Spanish and English. So if you have a student who knows very little Spanish, they can go for the elementary courses of Spanish, and they can take optional courses in English. So they won't struggle, they will reach the number of credits they're looking for, and they will succeed in their experience abroad. As I said, the summer sessions, the minimum is 3 credits and up to 7 during the fall and spring. The minimum is 12, and they can go up to 18 credits total. And we have, as I said, also this combination of different levels, and students can actually have great opportunities to choose from. Yes, they have traveling opportunities. I'll address this in the next slide, or maybe 2 more. So let's move on to the next one, please. The academic part. This is the first one I mentioned. We have the Spanish tracks. The first one, track 1, is actually one that we worked on very carefully, and we decided to just keep it for elementary Spanish 1 and elementary Spanish 2. It used to include 2 more courses, but we noticed like most of our students were wanting to take only these 2 so they could focus or choose other courses while they were in Santiago. We made those changes, and they actually worked very well. We've seen an increasing number for track 1 students because they want to focus on their other learning experiences, the other courses that we offer. For track 2 and 3, each one has 3 courses, intermediate Spanish 1 and 2 in composition, and then track 3, composition 1 and 2, and advanced Spanish 1. As you can see, we have this little overlap here. Same with track 4 with advanced Spanish 1 and 2, because sometimes we get students who, according to their previous courses they've taken at school, they can actually go, they meet the requisites and they can go to track 4, but they feel so like stressed about the experience, or sometimes they just don't want to feel like they're being pushed too hard. They move to the previous track and they take the same course, for example, advanced Spanish 1 instead of track 4, they go to track 3. And we can make those edits and help them throughout their experience. I always tell my students, we need you to learn, but we need you to have fun and enjoy your learning experience. We don't want you to stress. We don't want you to feel overwhelmed throughout the whole semester. So we address this from the very beginning. We help them figure out the best courses they can take, if they can transfer these credits later on, to make sure everything is fine for them and for their schools as well. So the next slide has a list of different courses that students can choose from. This is not the whole list. This is just, Most of them, but not the whole list. So for language and literature electives, they can also choose, apart from the other courses I've mentioned, they can go for Spanish conversation if they feel like they want to practice more their skills. Survey of Latin American literature and even Latin American cinema can work for that matter. In relation to the optional courses, remember these, depending on the semester, are taught in English or Spanish. We have Chilean history, Chile's native cultures, government and politics, human rights, political economy and business, race, gender, and media. These are courses from the list that usually get to open very well. We have a good demand. We have students who are always interested in these courses. So we're glad to say that we get to offer them also regularly in our program. So in addition to this, on the next slide, please, we have what's coming next. And I'm excited to share with you that we've been working on figuring out what our university is good at, what the country is strong at. And we decided carefully with USAC that these are courses that we can start offering this fall, and we're excited to announce them also. So Introduction to Communication and Media Studies, Marketing Principles, Marketing and Social Media, Social Entrepreneurship, and Sustainable Business are courses that we're adding to our offerings. We're excited to have them because, as I said at the beginning of the presentation, our country represents a strong economy within the region. We get a lot of professionals in this area with great experience. We have big companies. We have Google, Tesla just opened their first store here also in Chile. So we are excited to see this being our reality and having our students learn and from our local experience, and also have the academic experience of working with these courses as well. The labs we have on campus are very modern. We have great internet system also available for the students on campus. So we're excited to say that these are very promising options and very promising opportunities for our students' learning experience as well. The next slide, please. In addition to what we are offering for the program, we have also this announcement. Professor España Nájera is invited to teach Peace, Conflict, and Democracy in Latin America for the summer session 2, which goes from June 29 to August the 3rd. We're excited to say that this course is also one of our strong offerings. Lots of students take this class. And Dr. España Nájera, she is from California State University in Fresno, and she teaches Chicano and Latin American Studies. Also teaches Latin American Studies, US Latin American Relations, and Latin American Politics. So we feel and we believe Dr. España Nájera is a great fit to teach this class. We're excited to announce this. So please have your students take a look at the program and go for this great opportunity and join us this summer session with Professor España Nájera. Okay. On to the next slide. This is also part of the process while students are on site. We go for 2 mandatory 2 days of orientation. That's a picture of the staff. It's Paulina, my assistant, and myself. That is actually a picture we took during orientation. We offer personalized assistance to our students. I pick them up at the airport. I take them to campus. Paulina's waiting for them on campus as well. And we go through this whole revision of their courses, the books they need for the semester. We go through any special requests they need. It takes me a while, but we want to make sure everything is all right from the very beginning. We give them a campus tour that is also part of orientation, because we want them to see where things are from the very beginning, and we know they're excited to know more about their school as well. Depending on the semester and also the availability, we offer a mental health presentation. We have an agreement with two mental health clinics with great professionals who can speak Spanish and English fluently, and they can work with our students and help our students if they happen to need help from a professional. So we have these professionals to come here, and they present mainly on the experience, what the experience of studying abroad is like, and how that affects your mood or your mental health in general, and how you can de-stress and find coping mechanisms to get over that. And if also you can identify when you're not doing well, how can you reach for help, and maybe like give us notice that like you're struggling. With that presentation, we've noticed students are more willing to talk about their feelings and come to us if they need any professional assistance or help. And we're happy to say that this has been working very well. I was a little bit afraid at the beginning because it was like, maybe this is not, it's gonna make them, I don't know, be more aware of their feelings, but it's actually a good thing because we get to talk about those things more with our students, and we get to assist them even better. So in addition, we provide students during orientation with, of course, their academic information. We give them a transit card so they can use the metro. We give them also a SIM card. We know some students come with international data, that's fine. Sometimes students want to save that money and go for a local card. We give them a SIM card here. Their class schedule. We also give them souvenirs and other things like school IDs and notebooks so they can use them throughout the semester. I also give them travel info sessions. This is something I decided to do maybe like a few years ago, because I noticed we get very adventurous students. And maybe this is going to answer one of the questions that we got. Students get to travel a lot. Traveling within Chile is actually very affordable. It's a great opportunity to get to see the contrast that we have in terms of our nature. The north of Chile is a big desert, it's mountains, it's beautiful canyons, it's very safe, it's well thought for tourism. And the south is mountains, lakes, glaciers, forests. So it feels a lot like a huge contrast already from the city, and both ends at the same time. When I say it's affordable, and flight to the north, a round trip ticket, if you get a good sale, if you buy them when they're on sale, it can be maybe $35 to $40 round trip. So it's really affordable for students. And I want to make sure they also travel within Chile safely and with the right information and the right places to go to, where I know I will be able to contact them if I need it, or they can contact me if they need more help. And of course, while we are during orientation, we make sure their homestay is fine, and I take them myself to the apartments to help them out with the check-in process. We also understand that some students have never been out of the US, and we don't want them to go through the stress of understanding what traveling is like, checking into places like. We assist them throughout the whole process so they don't feel overwhelmed from the very beginning. Okay? So in terms of the opportunities for traveling, I think this is the next slide that we will address now. Yes. We have different field trips. I'm excited and happy to say that last year we were able to reach this goal that I had for many years, which is having at least one field trip for every single course that we're teaching during the semester. So apart from the trips that we offer, students are having different field trips with their own courses also. And the trips that we offer regularly are for Viña del Mar and Valparaíso, which is the coastal towns that we have here. They're only 90 minutes away from downtown Santiago. And this will be an overnight trip that we are offering as from this fall. We also offer one-day tours to Palmar de Ocoa, which is a mile hike. It's not really that intense. The top right picture is actually there. Beautiful landscape, beautiful place, not far away from the city, yet you disconnect fully from the city. And Pomaire and Isla Negra are the smaller towns where we somehow have a connection to poetry in Chile and the local culture and the native people of Chile. Pomaire is actually the last Inca settlement in South America. And they also work a lot with clay and pottery. So it has its unique identity. And for the optional tours, we offer Central Region, Southern, and Northern Chile, depending on the semester. These are for an additional fee, but we get to visit most of the places that students would want to see while they're here. We plan everything. We make sure they all feel comfortable with the rooms, the meals, the places that we visit. And I'm happy to say also that we intentionally connect the places that we visit during these optional tours with the courses they're taking and some of the content they're reviewing. So when I take them to the north, they realize, oh, the languages that they speak here, or the artisans and how they make a living in a desert, for example. Or when we go to the south, the same thing, like how people communicate with different concepts, or how the traditions change compared to Santiago. So there's always a learning experience, while of course giving them time to have fun and de-stress from schoolwork. Please, on to the next slide. To sum up, what's included in our program? The academic part is probably the most important one. That's why I have it here first on the list. We have 2 all paid for field trips every semester. They're included in the program fee. So students, we usually invite every single student to these trips. If they don't want to come, that's fine. But we usually encourage them to participate and get to interact with the rest of the group as well. We have 1 optional tour every semester. And we also give them the opportunity to go for a homestay or the student apartment. And we also offer the 24/7 assistance in case of any emergency. The airport pickup and the orientation, the mental health resources, and all the cultural immersion opportunities they can have while they're here in Chile. So having said that, I believe we got to the end of our presentation. Yes, before we finish, the eligibility requirements, they're very straightforward, very standard for most of the programs, the USAC programs. They need to be at least 18 years old, and they need to be enrolled in a university degree-seeking program. Their GPA, there's ideally a minimum of 2.5, and of course, they need to have good academic, disciplinary, and community standing. We remind them that we want them to behave professionally. Of course, we understand they are young, so we try to guide them the best way possible. And of course, if they need to meet or some specific requisites with their schools, they need to go through that as well. And if for any reason you find that you're not meeting these requirements, we can make exceptions. Of course, we've done it in the past. We don't regret it. We have to say that pretty much all of our students are really great students, very committed, and they're willing to make the most of this academic experience. All right. So this is the end. Having said that, again, my name is Jorge Molina, and you can address any of the 3 here, or anyone at USAC if you happen to have more questions or if you need any additional assistance. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jorge. Thank you so much, Thomas. And yeah, that was a wonderful presentation. Thank you for sharing all that great information. I want to just encourage folks that if you have any additional questions, you can pop them into the chat. I see one just popped in right now, which is, can we access a recording of this meeting? A recording of this meeting will be going out later this week or early next week. And first question coming in, any packing tips for students? I think we'll put that one to Thomas.
I took a whole lot of stuff that I thought I was going to be rugged and hiking all the time. And then I got there and found out Chileans were really fashionable and they might wear outdoorsy stuff when they were being outdoorsy, but not all the time. I would tell people, do your homework, because if you're going there from January to May, you're going to learn that the seasons are flipped around because it's in the other side of the world. As far as the climate, it is basically just like the Central Valley of California, really hot in the summer, really pleasant and dry at night. And then in the winter, it can feel cool, but you go up in the snow in the mountains, but in Santiago, it wasn't bad. But I would tell people, pack half. And if you don't have it, go shopping. There's tons of places to buy stuff local that's not any more expensive than it is here.
Any additional thoughts, Jorge?
I would focus on really comfy shoes because the city is walkable. You're going to walk a lot too. There are so many places to go and visit. You really want to have good shoes. And it's funny. Sometimes we get students, we go to the north, for example, to the desert, and I've had students wearing boots, and it's like, you look amazing, but those are not really like high heel boots, not comfortable, not suitable for the desert. You don't want that. So decent, comfortable shoes. Yeah, the rest, if you're missing something, you can get it here. It's really inexpensive. Just keep in mind that you, for the longer semesters, they're like the other way around. And for winter, it's your summer, it's our winter. So you probably want to pack winter clothes for the summer, which can be a little bit of a challenge in the US if you don't have winter clothes. But we sometimes get students wearing tees and shorts and sandals in the middle of our July season, rain season. It's like, okay, we need to help you. Let's get some jeans and a hoodie because you're freezing here.
All right, another question came in, which is, what surprises students the most once they start to get used to living in Chile?
So there are two things that they mention a lot. I keep asking them because as a local, I just love my city, my country, and probably I have a hard time now seeing the differences or like the contrasts. The first one that I'm getting a lot is that they don't feel like they're missing a lot from home. Like if you want to go to like a restaurant you have in your town back home, you probably have that restaurant here. If you want to go hiking, you have the mountains here. If you want to go to the beach, you have the beach here. The big city life, yes, you can have that. The small town sort of life, you have neighborhoods that feel very isolated from the busy downtown area. So you have opportunities. And the second is that they realize they would want to travel more or they want to stay here for longer. Sometimes we get students who come just for one session in the summer and they realize like, oh my, I had such a blast here. It was such a great time. I should have come for 2 sessions or maybe a longer semester. That they like don't want to go home. That's probably the happiest comment I hear from our students. They get so comfortable. They love their family. They love their friends. They just don't want to go home.
Yep, I cried the whole way to the airport when I left because it was that wonderful and I hated to leave. I think just like Jorge said, I'll never forget riding on the bus from the airport, crossing the pass kind of down into the main part of the city, and one of my cohort mates who was from San Luis Obispo, California, remarked, "Oh my God, it looks just like California." And it really was. I'd never been. So for me, it was like, what do you mean there's no window screens? There's no bugs. This is amazing. And there's no humidity. So for me, coming from where I sweat every day, Chile was amazing. And then the other thing that surprised me was all the avocados that we ate. we were way ahead of the curve. Chileans will put avocado on anything, and it's delicious.
True. Yes, I agree.
What other questions are out there?
I have one more comment if people come up with questions. The optional tour, I did the one to the south. I initially was not planning to do it, but it somehow got miscommunicated. And I thought, well, what the heck? It's spring break, our spring break. It'll be great. I ended up doing the math and the things we were able to do because group rates were purchased in it. It was cheaper than if I had tried to do the entire thing myself. And there were things like taking a boat through this turquoise lake up to glacial fed water. We got on another boat through a bunch of islands and ate lunch at the captain's house. And I have a picture of me where I'm actually piloting the boat. It's like I could not have done that by myself. And then it just made class real because we were studying literature and looking at Chilean poetry. And guess what? We just went to the place where that person was born and learned about it. So if people are thinking the optional tour, it is worth every penny, and it's actually more affordable than if you wanted to do it yourself.
True.
That's awesome. What is the best Chilean food or foods?
Empanadas, for sure. I love empanadas. It's like a small calzone, but it's so good, and you can like stuff it with like so many different options. I would say out here, if I walk out, there's a store where they have at least 25 different kinds of empanadas. Deep fry, baked in oven, with cheese only, cheese, corn, beef, or like so many options. It's just like, yes, I love it. And we're good at stews. I'm a good cook, and I can make really good stews too. What I highly recommend is that students bring their own chili sauce, because we have our chilies, but we don't eat very spicy food. Did you do that, Thomas?
Yeah, the ají is wonderful. I thought it was spicy. It was great.
Yes, I give them during orientation. I give them a bottle of our Chileno spice because I know they will miss a little bit of like the hot sauce they usually have at home. But yes, empanadas, stews. Anything else I'm forgetting, Thomas?
I think the best things in Chile are the seafood and the produce. You will find the freshest juices that are pureed.
True.
Every sandwich gets avocado. And then the day my mom came to visit, my host mom served a salmon for lunch. They didn't do anything to it except put a little salt and squeeze a lemon on it, and it was just the freshest, most delicious thing.
Yes. And produce is really, really cheap, and it's so good. Like I go every weekend, get the produce for my house, and maybe like $15 for a whole week of fruit and veggies. So really affordable, great quality, super clean, super delicious. So I usually encourage our students to go to the street markets that we have every weekend in our neighborhoods to go get their own produce because it's so good.
The grapes are really good, but so are the fermented grapes. Chilean wine is good.
True. I agree.
Awesome. Well, are there any outstanding questions before we wrap up today's session? If not, I want to say thank you so much, Jorge, and thank you so much, Thomas. Really appreciated your time today. And thank you both. And everyone, we hope to see you in Santiago. Have a great rest of your day.